Uh, we were asked to share significant events from our lives here at Mount Zion United Methodist Church as one of the features as we celebrate our church's 100th anniversary. And we're here to do just that. My name is Annette Faison, and with me is
Clagette,
Tyna, Middleton,
Audrey, Lyttle.
We have some points that we are going to go over, some items that we're going to go over that we are going to use to share our individual stories. We will talk about our connection with the church, when we became connected, why, where, and how.
Okay, my first connection with the church was in 1992. I came here from the UK in 1990, and my family and we visited several churches. But when I got to Mount Zion on Alden Avenue, it was like God was saying, welcome home. That's my fondest memory of being in my connection with the church, yes.
My connection, I came in 1981, and I did have a connection earlier. My roommate in college happened to have been Janice Faye Mobley, who lives in Clearwater, and I was trying to make a connection with her, and did, and then I was invited to the church. So I came probably about 1982 when I actually started coming regularly, and I was new in the area, was looking for a church, had visited several churches too, and even though they were nice, and one even came to visit me at my house, I just didn't feel it. When I got to Mount Zion, the thing that really struck me then was the choir. It was the singing of the hymns and the harmony, and that just did it for me.
Likewise, my experience is similar to Tina's. I grew up in Clearwater and was a member of St. John Primitive Baptist Church. But after attending a Methodist university in Georgia, I realized that I just loved to sing, and I sang in the choir, and I wanted to find a place that offered that type of fellowship and worship. At the time, my hairdresser was Mrs. Alchemies Bryant, and she would always say, come with me, we need you, you can sing with me in the choir. And that's what I did. So my husband and I joined Mount Zion in 1971, and we haven't looked back. We've been worshiping with this church and the members for now 48 years, and this is where we're going to remain.
my experience, and with this church, I've moved down here in Clearwater in 1993, but I visited a lot of churches, and I attended this church in November of 2018. And once attending this church, I felt like this was home for me. And ever since then, I've been worshiping, fellowshipping with this church, and have joined this church, and have nothing but the best in a family atmosphere, and will nothing but continue to fellowship with this church.
I think we all can conclude that this is a place where we can fellowship,
Yes.
we can sing, we can
Yes,
praise God,
exactly.
we can worship, and just carry on the work of the Lord.
Absolutely.
Yes.
My fondest memories or experiences are first when my son was born in 1974, and when he was 2 months old, he was baptized here at the church, and that was a pivotal moment for me. And when he was 13, he was confirmed with Mount Zion, and that was good. And finally, in 2000, he was married in the church, and his children were born here. They participated in youthful activities, but since they're married, they've kind of veered away, and I think they attend Calvary Baptist now. He's not attending Methodist Church, but those are my fondest memories. What about you guys?
Well, mine, I guess, is very similar because I adopted a child, and the way it came about is we had a visitor come, and she was allowed to talk about adoption. And I'm in the choir stand, and it looked like she was looking dead at me. I was like, why is she looking at me? Well, about 10 years earlier, I had an experience. I was in Ohio, and it was North Carolina. And their show came on talking about children who didn't have families, and I'm thinking, children who don't have, all children have families. So I'm watching the show, and it said they started talking about children in foster care and adoption. And I got interested because it said all children should have families. Well, you get involved in other kinds of things, and 10 years later, I'm sitting in the choir stand, and this lady is talking, and she's talking to me. So finally I just said, okay, Lord, I'm in. I will talk to her after this is over so she can stop looking at me. So I went down and talked to her and actually got involved in the whole process and did adopt an oldest son who was 11 years old. And I guess the fondest thing for me is the family that came around him, the church family came around. Because he would say to me, why all these people get to tell me what to do? I said, because you got more mamas, daddies, uncle, and aunts than anybody ever had. I said, that's why, so you just get used to it. So that was that feeling that I wasn't in this by myself. I was a single mom, but I was not by myself.
My most fondest memory since I've been here, and probably my most amusing memory, is my attending Sunday school and being invited to the choir, and how that came about. When we go and answer a question, I always sing my answers. So Miss Faye said, Lisa, we have rehearsal every Wednesday. And that's how I came about joining the choir, because I always sung out my answers to all the questions. And they all started laughing. I said, okay, I'll be there Wednesday. And ever since then, I joined the choir as well, since I've been here. What about you, Ms. Audrey?
Well, my fondest memories is, I love church. That's basically it. I grew up in church at home. I went to church every day apart from Saturday night. Saturday night I got ready for church the next morning. But every evening there was something to do. So when I came to Mount Zion, it was like, oh, no, it's just like home. You're going to church, there's something to do every day of the week. But what really stood out for me is that we had a gentleman called Jesse Dixon from the Gators. He came to our church and he put on a concert for us. And I think everyone enjoyed that, and we enjoyed fellowshipping with him. We all had such a wonderful time during that period.
Yeah, I remember him. I'd never heard of him before then, though.
Yes.
It was a great experience. Our favorite, the favorite ministries at the church, I guess mine would be the choir. I love singing in the choir.
Mine's
But
choir as well.
I have served in other ministries as well in my earlier years. I was a member of the Finance Committee, the United Methodist Women, still am, the Worship Committee, the Staff Parish Relations Committee, all of these. I think I paid my dues. So now I'm just taking it easy, but I still like to sing in the choir, so I'll probably be there Wednesday night for rehearsal. Okay. But that's it. What about you?
Well, my favorite ministry, as well as the choir, is Come in Touch, where we go out and we help everybody that needs it. We have free breakfast, laundry, and we do that every second and fourth Saturday of the month. And just generally, whatever the church needs help with, I'm always willing to help. So whatever needs to be done, anybody that needs to be helped, I just like to jump in and just help.
And you stay here. Audrey?
My favorite ministry is also the choir, but I'm one of those people, whatever you ask me to do, I'm willing to help if it's within my scope. If I can't do it, I will tell you, no, I cannot do that. I cannot speak out like Miss Tyna. I probably can't sing like Miss Annette, but I know that I can be part of the altar in the choir, and I take a back seat, but I sing when it's time.
She does good. She's got a good alto voice, yeah. We're all singers up experience, because choir was fine too. Early on, it was the choir and Sunday school. And then as time went on, I got more involved with church and Vacation Bible School. And I'm the oldest of 6 children, so it wasn't I had a lot of playtime because there was always the others that had to take care of. So my playtime is now. So anything that involves children, I do it because I can do all the child stuff I never got to do. So Vacation Bible School was just fun for me to do that one. So Vacation Bible School. And then I started teaching Sunday school. I was scared to do that because my dad asked me if I was doing it one time, and I said no. He said, why not? I said, because I may tell these children something their parents don't want. I may have an idea their parents may not appreciate. So he said, well, you just pray on it. And I did start teaching Sunday school. It wasn't so much me telling them as them sharing with me. Because they would say things like, why do we have to come to Sunday school anyway? And why does it have to be so boring? I said, it doesn't have to be boring. What would make it better? So they said, well, can we have a picnic? I said, sure, we can have a picnic. Jesus had picnics. So I said, just understand that we have to be tied back up into the Lord because God holds me responsible for teaching you about Him. And once we got through that, we were okay.
You know, location really doesn't matter because the church is the people. And wherever we are, we connect with the people. So for me, that would be everywhere the people have been, we worship and praise and learn the Word of God.
Yes. Well, for me, it's in general and it goes back to being accepted with this church and being at home with this church is the people that makes you feel loved, and it makes it easier for when you have problems. They're there for you to talk to, you know, as would be your brother or your sister, you know. That's your brother or sister away from home. You got your church family as well. That's what also makes it better and more special with coming to church, you know, and because that's part of the church, being able to go to them and to have them to pray with you, be there to help you. That's the importance of it also.
I was like you, it was hard to pick a particular location because each one of them had its own special thing about it that kind of drew you to it. But what I guess for me was when we got out of the box, out of the 4 walls, and we went to the beach. And we did when we did it on the beach and we went to the park. That to me was like, wow, we don't have to be in 4 walls. We don't have to sit, you know, be cramped in or forced to be in a certain way. We can get out and we can be a part of everything else that's going on. So when we did it on the beach and in the park, that was it for me. And we had homemade ice cream. That was it.
Well, I think my favorite location was Howard Street because at Howard Street, we had so many different ministries going on. We were part of the community. Children came to be educated. We had Girl Scouts. There was so much, you know, and we were totally involved with United Methodist Women. And it's like the whole family of the church was involved, not just 1 or 2 people. And sometimes when the church moves, you tend to drift away, people drift away, and then you find just a little corner of the church doing the same thing. But at Howard Street, I felt like everybody was involved in that ministry, in the ministry there. We had a education program called Reading Readiness, and children who were not doing well in school would come to the church in the afternoon, and we helped them with reading, math, and everything. Some of those young people from then have gone off to be lawyers and pediatricians. Remember they said that's what they were going to do, and they've done it. And, you know, to me, that was a great experience.
Okay, our favorite pastors. I remember 2, mainly. I remember when I joined the church, Reverend Below was the pastor I joined in. But the next Sunday when I came to church, there was Reverend Harper. And I said, what's going on here? That's not the same man I joined under. But this is the Methodist church, and it was like in June, and we had that transfer of members. But ministers, right. Reverend Harper was my favorite minister. He and his wife were so active. She sang in the choir, and he preached and also sang in the choir. He had us learn a cantata, remember that? And directed us for 1 year. We sang the Easter cantata, the whole book of songs, and that was really, really interesting. Another minister that I really recall is Reverend Alfonso Delaney. He and his wife were very active. Mr. Delaney could talk to you about anything. He was so open. And I remember when he was here, we had a fundraiser. We secured a boat ride out in the bay. We went on a boat ride. Betty prepared the food. We had food, and we also danced. I said, dance at the church function. But we did. It was great. That's mine.
Okay. Reverend Delaney was one of mine too, but he was also my son's godfather. And it was a good thing because my son had these tendencies to show himself. And I call Reverend Delaney the gangster preacher. Well, the gangster preacher jacked my son up one day and says, if I ever hear you talk to your mom that way again, I will get you. And he said, so at church, he never did that again. So, but he also was one who was very loving about people and people's concerns. And that was the thing that really kind of touched me. And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter whether you were part of the church or not. And he was also about being, I guess, fair and right. Because when he came to the church, he looked at people's talents and what they were able to do. And so he started putting people in places where he felt that they didn't make some folks happy, but it gave everybody an opportunity to get involved in the church some way if they wanted to. And he was willing to take whatever came back on him to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to participate in the church. But he'd also call you out if he thought you were wrong. He called me a couple of times too. My other one, I think, was, and each one of them had their own special thing, but I guess in terms of relationships, the other one, I guess, was Reverend Barron. Again, because he was this people person, and like, I think it was you who said the pastor who got you involved in things. He got me involved in this ministry called FAST. I never would have done that. As outgoing as I can be, I never would have done that one. Had he not said, I need for you to do this. And then he was there to support. So I think with having that kind of support, and I saw him not just support the ministries, but I saw him support individuals in the church. And whenever we had, I guess, administrative issues that needed to be taken care of, he didn't take a back seat on it. He would stand up to the powers that be on behalf of the church, and that was something I admired. But each of the pastors, I think, came with something. God didn't send us someone that had nothing to offer. Some of them were very administrative focused, and they saw things in our operations that needed to be changed that would probably be the better. And there were those who were very much people-oriented. And so whatever they brought, I saw that God had brought them here to take care of some need that we had. So those are my favorite ones, but all of them I saw as having value.
Well, my favorite pastor, I must admit, was Pastor Faison. I'd been coming to this church since 1992, and I'm going to say always taking a back seat. You come to church, sometimes you sit in the seat, you sing in the choir, you help out where you want to help out. But Pastor Faison said to me one day, our 100th anniversary is coming up, that's 5 years ago. He said, I'd like you to be a part of that. I'd like you to spearhead that. So I was remembering in Revelation somewhere it said like the 24 angels around the throne and praising God and that. So I thought about it for a little while, and then I said to him, yes, I'll do it. And but he said, when you choose someone from every family within the church. So with that, I thought, okay, yes, I need to choose some, have everybody. And then our first meeting, we thought, what shall we call the team? And so I said, our 100th anniversary is coming up, maybe Team 100, unless someone else has a different name. And that stuck. Everybody said, no, we'll go with Team 100. So Team 100 it was. But people have just rallied around me, and they have like Miss Annette Faison, she's getting this story told, and nearly everybody within the team has something to do, and they're doing it well. And I want to take this opportunity right here, since I'm in front of the camera, to say thank you to all of those who rallied around me, because they know that had it not been Pastor Fraser who saw the potential in me, I would still be sitting in the back seat in the church doing what everybody's doing and not doing anything.
My most recent and funnest experience was when we went on our cruise, you know, and we had fun with the members, and we was dancing, and when we were talking about stepping outside the box, you know, that we can also enjoy ourselves as a family, going outside and enjoying ourselves and relaxing, and still having fun.
And I think it surprised a lot of the people on the
The we from the church.
Yes, that we could go outside and have fun and still minister.
What is a family if you can't have fun
Fun.
together?
Exactly. That's what a family
Thank
does.
God. That's
We
right.
go
Even
outside
though
and
we have
have
our
fun.
differences, we have fun.
We
Yes.
have fun.
Okay.
That was one of the things that I said, because early on, I would feel like I was left out of things, because I live in St. Pete and the church was in Clearwater, and I'd feel left out of things. And I'd come back and they said, well, where were you? Like, well, you ain't where was I? Nobody told me. So we go through these kinds of things there. But even though that happened, whenever there was a need, when I moved from Clearwater to St. Pete, who was there? Mount Zion.
We was right here.
Yep. To the point of helping me pack, getting me over there, getting my stuff in the house,
yeah.
and fix dinner. You know, Miss Betty don't cook. And fix dinner, so I didn't have to cook dinner. So, yeah, it's family. You get mad at each other. You sometimes don't want to talk to people. But when it comes right down to it,
Family is the
Family is-
Yes.
yes.
That's the
Before
family.
we finish, what about something amusing? Can you think of something?
oh,
Well, can I just say something?
Okay.
I'm just going to put this up like families. You know, we all have our individual families, and we always say, within a family, we can talk about each other, but nobody outside can talk about our family. And that's how we feel with Mount Zion. We can talk about Mount Zion, but nobody outside, but I can't talk about Mount Zion too.
Okay, so whenever y'all ready, just feel free.
We're here celebrating our 100th anniversary for Mount Zion United Methodist Church from 1919 to 2019. And this is telling our story. Sitting here with me, I will let everybody introduce themselves. I'm Loretta Hunter.
Betty Perry.
Liam Hunter Kelty.
Aiden Hunter Kelty and Lysandra Hunter.
My favorite memory is my mother was going to church here. We were all Baptists, St. Matthew Missionary Baptist Church. And but I was not a member, but I've been a member for 35 plus, I think. I'm not sure, but it's somewhere along that way. One of my fondest memories is the Girl Scouts that we had, Troop 1118. We had a pastor by the name of Reverend Alfonso Delaney, deceased. He was a lot of fun, and I always called him the gangster pastor. He was a good pastor. He's passed on, but I loved him dearly, and I thought he was so much fun. I love Pastor Barron and Pastor Frazier, and they were so much fun. And my present Pastor I. Lee, I just adore, and I think he is just great. He delivers a great message so we can understand. In Bible study, we understand. We've been over stuff that we've never gone over before, and I understand that. So I just really, really love him. I usher. I sing in the choir. I'm a member of the Senior Living It Up Ministries. I just do whatever needs to be done. I have no qualms in doing whatever I'm asked to do and that I'm not asked to do. I enjoy being a part of this church and this congregation, and I love everybody in here. And whatever I'm asked to do, whether I'm in a meeting or out, if they call me and ask me to do it, it's done. And my current pastor is seeing that now. I don't have time to say, well, I don't have time, well, I'm aching, I'm doing this, but I just get it done.
Well, actually, I looked at my attending Mount Zion was through the reading program, and I tried to think of what year, and I couldn't get that. And that was, they were on Alden Avenue, and it was through my daughter, Lysandra, that we got into the reading program. And since I would take her, and she was a handful, that's true, so I would never leave her. I was always a body available, so they gave me my own students, because they said, you're always here, we might as well give you a room and some students, and that's how I got involved in the reading program. And then in 1992, because I'm not sure which came first, Girl Scouts came into play. I became a co-leader when my daughter Lysandra was in kindergarten with the Daisies with another troop, and my oldest daughter finally got into Girl Scouts, and she said, I heard about the black troop at that church over there. I want to go, and that's how we found out about Mount Zion, and that's how we started at least attending Mount Zion for Girl Scouts, and we got involved that way. And basically we've been involved ever since. I didn't attend church other than Girl Scouts Sunday. And then from there eventually, because I again went to a Baptist church, I went to St. John Primitive Baptist because that's where my family went. And I was probably there 10 or 15 years before I started going to Mount Zion. And then I just have been here kind of ever since. But many people influenced me. This is one of the people, the reason I enjoyed coming to Mount Zion when I started coming. I met Miss Betty, and I got to know her from the kitchen because she was always feeding people. And I grew up where my mom told me if they could feed you, the least you could do was wash a dish. And that's how I got to know Miss Betty, was figured I could eat, I could wash. And so I kind of started doing more stuff. And that's when I started helping at a church. At St. John, I always gave them my money because I was taught to pay my money. So I paid my money, but I didn't work. But when I got to Mount Zion, I started working as well as giving my money and putting in my time. And as far as pastors, I didn't have a favorite pastor. There were a few that I was under, but I learned a lot from all of them. And one of the things that kind of impacted me the most was the fact one of the pastors made the comment, if you're gonna leave town, leave your church money, or as today, now that we have Giveify, I figure out how to pay it no matter where I'm at. And one of the pastors also indicated that if he talked to you, he was not gonna let you off the phone or let you go without praying for you. And so that impacted me, the fact that I don't care, you're not never in too big of a hurry to get a prayer. He's like, wait, before you go, I gotta pray for you. And that made an impact that I try to, at least now, if possible, pray for people, because if you think about it, we're never really in too big of a hurry to pray for somebody. It only takes a second. Even if you say that silent prayer and they have no clue you did it, you still can pray for them.
It's a joy to serve in the church. Most people don't. God's given us all a gift, some kind of gift, whether it's singing, ushering, cooking, whatever. He's given us all the gifts, and we need to learn how to use that gift, little or big, inside of our church to make it a better place. Some of us use it and some of us don't, but I enjoy what I do. I enjoy people, and I have an overwhelming personality. I enjoy what I do so much, whether it's singing in the choir, and I'm not that great of a singer, whether it's ushering, being a hospitality person, I enjoy it all. I enjoy church service, and we have a prayer line, which we are on every morning. And it is such a joy to start your workday off with a prayer and listening to the different people pray for different people. And we pray for everybody in this whole wide world. And we pray for, coming on down from the White House, we pray for everybody in the world, the sick, the shed in, all over, the seniors. And I enjoy that so much because it makes the day feel so much like you're going out into the world and you're going to give that person that smile or that hello or that just anything, you know, if you can help them. And that's what the prayer warriors do. We do give smiles. We do enjoy what we do. And I enjoy doing the prayer service every morning, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 8:05. Sometimes we run over, but we don't even care, and we mute our phones and we just pray before we go to work. And it's worked out so well for everyone, because you have an enjoyable day, you have a better day if you just pray to the Lord and ask Him to lead and guide you throughout this day. Trust in Him. You will be okay.
I would like to do a special thanks to the seniors at the time when I came aboard, which has been about 10 years ago now. It was called Living It Up or 70 and Up.
Seven up.
7 Up, because I was nowhere near that. I was getting ready to retire, didn't know that. But at the moment I was on disability, and they had a daytime Bible study, which was on Wednesdays at 11:30. Well, I had a car, and I was in some frame of mind that I could drive. So they figured out how to get me wherever they needed to go. And they were so funny because they'd ask me would I take them somewhere, and I would always say no. So they got smart, and they would buy me tickets. So wherever they wanted to go and come and say, now you know you're supposed to pick us up this day at this time, so we'll see you. Well, when my mind got a little better, I was like, I don't remember that. So they finally got among their group and said, oh, we got to start asking her now. We can't just tell her what we want to do. And that's kind of how I started working with them. So I take them shopping, doctor appointments, wherever they want to go. If I'm available, I would take them. And I still do that to this day. But that was how I got involved in the senior ministry when I was actually probably in my 50s and I was nowhere near 70. But like I said, I enjoy hanging out with them and doing whatever I can to help. But we all were servants, because that's what he said. We're to be servants and be of service wherever you can. And I also want to give a thank out to the youth who, I think about them, they're all grown now, but they occasionally remind me of my day when some of the things I did. So they taught me effective communication. I'd ask them when we were on Howard to help me to wipe the tables from breakfast. And they literally wiped only the space on the table. My version of wiping the tables was clean the mirrors, put the salt and pepper back on the table, make sure the tablecloth is straight, and make it neat for the next time. Well, they politely told me, Miss Loretta, you did not ask us to fix the thing, you asked us to wipe the table. So I learned whenever I talk to them and they talk to me to make sure we have an understanding. What do you really want me to do? What does it entail? So now I try to be a little more effective in like, okay, do we really have a true understanding of what I'm expecting and what you're expecting? And they seem to keep me on track. And I think there was an incident once, and I think I surprised them because I found out I attended one of them, and I went back and apologized. So the rest of them was shocked. An adult came and apologized to somebody who wasn't an adult, but I realized I knew how I felt, so they would feel the same. So I decided, well, let me at least be the bigger person because I was wrong, and that was not my intent to offend on that part of it. So they're helping me to be a better person, and that's all we are supposed to do, is help each other.
With the youth, me and my children, as they say, they help me in the kitchen. They help serve, they help set up, anything they can do in the kitchen, from the littlest one to the oldest one, they will come in and they will help me. And they're spoiled, yes they are, because I spoil them, even the ones who are they parents now, all their children are spoiled, rotten, and it's all my fault. But I love kids and I enjoy them so much, and they enjoy me. And I have no problem with them at all. They're not disrespectful, they obey, and they seem to do okay. If they're in the kitchen with me helping, before they get in the kitchen, wash your hands. You know how to wash your hands. So they wash their hands, and I give them some little duties, and they are just super in the kitchen, better than some adults. But I enjoy all my work here at the church. I enjoy all the people and all my work that I do in the church and outside of the church. I just love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much.
All right, well, I want to make a reference into my grandsons. Like Liam has been involved in like whatever church program, whether it's Christmas, Easter, and we have bucket drums. So he was the youngest bucket drum at age 3 that could play the bucket drum, and he's been in it since then, and he enjoys it. He's 6, he'll be 7, but he's been doing it ever since, that part of it. And in reference to Aiden, him and the current pastor Lee, that's his buddy. he's not happy if he don't figure out how to get the pastor's attention, and he has to talk to him when we go to the altar. He's a little upset if he didn't touch him and pray over him that day. And so he likes to okay, well, where is he? He's looking for him. And even when he's doing stuff he shouldn't be, he's looking to see if the pastor is looking at him from up front. And that's his Aiden, so that's his buddy that he hangs out with the pastor. So they have their little rapport that on Sunday he's looking for him. And if he's not at church, the pastor say, well, where's my buddy? And so they kind of have made their way, and they were involved in church.
That's it.
First, I joined the church on the Reverend Huckle, February the 4th, 1977. I worked in singing the choir. I was on the PPR committee, on the nominating committee. I was president of the United Methodist Women, and I also worked with the St. Pete District on the nominating committee.
My name is Maddie B. Shaw, and I joined United Methodist Church on Alden Avenue, first building. For many years there, I served on the senior usher board and senior living and United Methodist Women. I enjoyed many years serving with them. An amazing memory was the boat ride. This is a picture of some boat ride.
My name is Yvonne Dolores Gaines. I'm 77 years old. I was born in 1941, April 25th. I'm a Taurus. I've been a member of Mount Zion. Well, I joined when I was 17 years old. My connection is my grandmother, and my mother, Maggie Lee Smith Brooks. And my best location, my favorite location is anywhere we are at the time, as long as we're together. I remember when I was growing up, sitting in the kitchen chairs. We didn't have pews, and we used to have quartet singing in the evenings. When I was a teenager, we used to have Methodist Youth Fellowship meetings, and we used to raise money by selling chitlin dinners. And Mamaji Jones was our cook. My favorite pastor was Reverend A.L. Pierce, and that's when we started going to the conference and having to report on meetings as a teenager. And Reverend Higgs was the earliest minister that I remember. His wife was a musician along with others. I used to sing in the choir, and then I ended up playing for the choir. When I first started playing, I used to play for Sunday school, and the only song I could play was On With Christian Soldiers. I played that for quite a while, because Pa Jay would not let me stop.
Hello, my name is Robert C. Young, born April 18, 1944, to the parents of Marion and Ollie Young. I'm a fourth generation at this church of Mount Zion United Methodist Church. My baptismal certificate, dated September 10, 1944, by the Reverend C.B. Higgs, who just happened to be my godfather. As I reflect on my beginning, of the 29 pastors that we've had over my membership time. 7 of them I do not know, but the remaining 27 pastors I recall having a relationship with, starting with my godfather, Reverend Higgs. Reverend A.L. Pierce gave me the first opportunity to say prayer in church, and I remember that very clearly. The remaining pastors I had opportunities to work with. Reverend Higgs' pastorage was from 1942 to 1953. And as I look at the remaining pastors, all of them I had a working relationship with. I was very active during the year of 1961. The program shows that I was president of the MYF, which was the Methodist Youth Fellowship. From that tenure, I have held various positions throughout my tenure at Mount Zion United Methodist Church. I'm married to the Lola Clelia Rutledge. That matrimony taking place in 1964, August the 8th, under the pastorate of the Reverend L.G. Scott. Alvin Washington was my best man. Benny Hill, who was the musician, was also a witness to this ceremony. Once again, the Reverend Lewis Scott was the pastor at Mount Zion at that time. Over the years, I have enjoyed my tenure and my working relationship at Mount Zion, and I have 2 other generations following me here at this Church of Mount Zion. Thank you for hearing my story, and may you have a wonderful and blessed anniversary. Thank you.